There. Today I was planning on talking about starting a business because I'm coming up on my launch anniversary in I guess a week or so of when I launched my business back in 2019, or officially launched. At any rate, I was going to talk about that and I will in the future, but another versary is also coming up, and that was brought to mind when I got a text message from my best friend from childhood. She had just had a lumpectomy for breast cancer, and I am coming up on 2 years since I have had my double mastectomy for the same thing. And coincidentally enough, what got me to finally get off my butt and go for my mammogram was that another mutual friend of ours had gotten diagnosed in 2020. And I happened to text her on her birthday, and she told me that she had just had a double mastectomy. And I was like, oh, geez, like someone I knew from when I was young, I should probably finally go. And of course, because I put it, well, not because I had put it off, but I had put it off for a long time. And I went and they found something, and then I opted for that procedure. And luckily, we are all healthy and we will all be fine. But, it got me to thinking about how weird my reaction was to finding out that I had cancer. And even in texting my friend last night, how her reaction was as well. Like, everybody's reaction is different. And yet there feels like there's this expectation that it will be dreadful. And as I explained to people, perhaps I would have felt very, very differently about it had I been diagnosed in any other year. But I happened to get diagnosed at the end of 2020, which we had the pandemic and murder hornets. And I don't even remember if there might have been aliens. I've blocked a lot of it, but it was a very challenging year just with life in general. And so when I got the diagnosis, honestly, it was like, well, of course. And it was sort of just one more thing to add to my to-do list. Like, what do I have to do? How do we get this done with? I don't have time for this. And so I didn't really have what I would have imagined maybe that my reaction would have been to a cancer diagnosis. I didn't have the reaction that I know some of my friends have had. I felt badly that I didn't. I felt like maybe there was something wrong with me, because there is an expectation that this is life altering, and I don't generally feel that way. It was a health issue. It came up, and I took care of it. But then, as people would ask how I was doing, then I felt the need to justify why I wasn't feeling more about this or having the right reaction. And I certainly started to feel like I was like some kind of weirdo or emotionally defunct person, or just, I don't know, broken with feelings. I don't know. So I got almost defensive about how I was feeling, because honestly, even the procedure itself, I was like, yeah, and I kind of feel fine, because I was fortunate. And then I kind of felt guilty because I had some friends who made different choices and went through chemo and radiation, and they felt horrible, and I felt relatively good. And I was healthy, and they still felt bad, and I felt like survivor's guilt, even though they are perfectly healthy now too. But they went through a lot more. So my point is that there's always this expectation somewhere out there about what you should do or how you should feel, but that is based on, I don't know, someone else's idea. And that's not necessarily true. And you don't need to justify your feelings. My feelings of, kind of, whatever, about my life are my valid feelings, and that's okay. And I don't have to expect anybody else to feel that way. I certainly don't. In fact, I felt really distant about this, but I totally get it if you're feeling really emotional. And my the friend I was texting was like, yeah, I just want to get this over with. I've got things to do, which maybe says more about the culture that we're raised in than anything else, because it was both hard and wonderful to take several weeks just completely off to recover. But regardless, the point is that it's normal to feel weird about things that you want to do, or that you experience in a way that is different than what seems like everybody else experiences. And I've come to embrace that more and more. Some of it came with my ADHD diagnosis, which made a lot of sense when that came about. But also I look back at all of the things that I struggled to fit into because I felt like I should, or it was someone's idea of what was supposed to be my life, or my feelings, or my reaction, or just some rules that were established by someone, some mythical person, probably some old white guy who's no longer alive. Or I guess that would make him a dead white guy. But that isn't the case. We don't all fit into that same bucket. And so part of my goal with Weirdly Wired Women is to get women to embrace what that is about them that maybe has always made them feel awkward and weird, but shouldn't, because we all have that in there. And I will full on let you know, like, the weirdness that goes in my brain. So I was doodling with Weirdly Wired Women. I was doodling a bunch of W's, and I started to realize W's kind of have a very boobish look, just naturally, and ties in nicely with this discussion earlier about mastectomies and breast health. But as I was doodling them, my brain flashed this image that I am never going to be able to unsee. I'm just going to share it with you because it is now. I'm never going to see a cursive lowercase w and not see and boobs. So there you go. There's lots of weirdness that is happening in my brain, and I'm hoping to learn about yours too, because it's what makes us amazing and wonderful. And really, there are no rules. So at any rate, sometime soon, I will talk about my launch anniversary, and probably about how my friend who just had the lumpectomy basically thought I was a psychopath, because that's also quite an entertaining story. But in the meantime, be yourself and get your mammograms. Bye.